Hi everyone and welcome to this month's podcast. I'm so honored to have with me Fred Waithaka, who is Head of Legal and Regulatory at Safaricom. I don't know how I got Fred onto this podcast. It's just a miracle of coincidence, and also the fact that he was one of our judges at the Nairobi Legal Awards, and I was lucky enough to meet him. So welcome, Fred, to the podcast, and thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us today.
No, thank you, Njeri, for having me. I'm honored. I was telling you earlier, this is my year of doing new things.
Yes, you did.
This is my first podcast.
Yes, so it's your first podcast. I can't believe that I am the first podcast, and it's very memorable for me and also for you. And I hope it's a good experience. So you'll tell us at the end.
I will tell you at the end, but I'm looking to having some fun as we engage.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's start with who you are, Fred. It's very difficult to find any information on you on the internet. I tried my best, but in any case, I saw a video where you said that you were not looking to do law. You were actually looking to become a vet. So how do you move from veterinary services or the profession to becoming a lawyer? How did that happen?
Well, I think first off, it's interesting what you said, that no information on me. So
Nothing.
I think in this new digital age, you don't exist if you're not online.
There's no footprint. You need a digital footprint.
So let's make some.
Yeah.
Yes, I never wanted to be a lawyer. I always wanted to be a vet. The law was, I don't want to call it forced upon me, but we were brought together into an arranged marriage.
That's very funny.
And what I can see is that we've had a long and wonderful and deep relationship.
And it's been very successful.
It's been very successful. I have grown, I have learned, I have relearned. And the relearning in particular, as far as my current career is concerned, is semi-transition from a core legal practitioner into a regulatory and public policy expert. He was to analyze it at that
So I love the evolution and the ability to transform, which you seem to be doing every single 10 years, but we'll get into that. Right. You previously said, and you applied your parents' mantra, with grit, prayer and commitment, nothing is insurmountable to your work. So I want to know, looking back, which one of those has been key to you? Is it grit? Is it determination that has made you so successful? What is it?
Okay. Both my parents unfortunately passed on. But they continue to live through me.
Exactly.
I say the guidance that they gave me continues to anchor me, continues to light the way for me. And everything that I am is guided by the values that they instilled in me.
Amazing and very important.
Correct. And so as to which of those has been the key guide for me, I would say that they work concurrently. If you were to take the Swahili saying of what? Chawa. Kidole kimoja. I think that is the saying.
Please don't embarrass me with my Swahili, Fred.
We'll put some subtitles for you. Yeah, essentially it means that all these values work together, almost like the pistons in an engine, that the to and fro working together is what drives and pushes me in life. And the grit, the self-awareness, the commitment to community, the prayer, everything comes together to see the Fred that you have before you. And
I think we'll touch on all of those during this podcast. I have so many questions for you, and I know a lot of people have, they've contributed to the questions I'm asking you. But we'll get on to that. You started your career at Kaplan Stratton.
Yes.
First of all, what was that like at that time, and what was practice like at that time? And secondly, why did you move into in-house? You didn't want to follow the private practice route.
Okay.
Why?
Right, interesting you say at that time. Sounds like I'm so ancient. Like my kids asking me whether we had TV in my day.
That's so funny. No, I meant it must have changed. It's changed. It's evolved over time.
Yeah, but I have been in practice for quite some time. I think this will be my 20th year.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
So it's a fantastic 20 years. A career that I kicked off at Kaplan and Stratton way back in the year 2000 as a pupil.
As a pupil, yeah.
Yes, it was a fantastic experience. And the firm molded me in my career, the rigor that I continue to express in how I carry out my work, and also the lifelong friends that I made. Many of the lawyers that I worked with and the other staff worked in Kaplan are my friends to this day.
Amazing.
So that just tells a story about what that experience was about. So how was practice back then? Definitely not unlike what it is today. You had to be more hands-on, and by hands-on I mean in the research, that you do. There was no Google back then.
Yes.
So you actually had to get into the library and chew the books and get to formulate your opinion. For the youngsters who may be listening to this call, there was no chat GPT.
Which is even new to us
which
now.
Which is new to many of us, but which basically tells you where the world is moving into. But that's the reality of evolution. But what continues to underpin who I am is, as I said, the rigor, the ethics that I learned having worked in the farm.
And what kind of law did you think you would practice, once you were qualified? Did you think it was going to be regulatory? I guess, was there a regulatory department, or was it just corporate or litigation or real estate at that time?
For that time, my focus was on corporate law. Because I think your perspectives in life continue to change as you get and continue to deepen your experience and interactions. So obviously, working in that environment at that time, my world was divided into litigation, real estate, corporate stroke, commercial. So I went where I felt most comfortable, which is the corporate and commercial world.
And so then how did you make the transition in-house? Because I guess you didn't want to do the private practice route, or you thought it was more beneficial to do the in-house route?
I think it was an experiment.
Okay.
Yes. And if my current employer is listening, I actually wasn't really sure what Safaricom does when I applied. But the advert looked good. So I made the application. I went through the process, and
you were successful.
Yes, I was successful.
Why do you think they chose you out of, I guess it would have been thousands of people applying for the same role?
The legal department at the time was in formation. And it was under the leadership of Njeri Wagacha at the time, and he had a view as to how he wanted to coach his department, and he had a view that he needed someone who was strong in the corporate and commercial world, and so when he was looking, that was sort of skill set he was looking for. As to why I was selected, obviously I was the best.
Excellent answer. That's the right answer. But when you went there, you were principal legal counsel, and it was just when M-Pesa was starting. So it seems like you were at the cusp of something that was just beginning to formulate. Did you know that was where it was heading, or was it just a bet, a gamble?
No, as I said, it was an experiment to see what this whole new world is all about. It was also a lot of learning. Getting into Safaricom that was then is not the Safaricom now. It was definitely a much smaller organization, more intimate, but obviously with a lot of ambition, and that was exciting to be a part of. So even as M-Pesa came to be, again there was no clear prophecy that the M-Pesa that we were testing out would become the key product that it is now. So even as we tested it as staff members, even as we worked on the contract documents as a legal team, that was never in the purview. What we knew was that it was going to be a good product, but not the super
product that it has become. And then it seems like what you're displaying in your career is a knowledge of where things seem to be going, because then you went to Ccom, jumping ship again. Why did you choose to go to Ccom, and what was that journey like?
Okay. I think one attribute that you'll find about me is an element of self-awareness. And self-awareness not just in terms of my capability, but in terms of the environment that is around me. That means, in the case of the industry, understanding how the industry is shifting and where it is going. So I had that understanding that data was going to be something important. Again, I didn't know it was going to be big, but I knew it was something important. In Safaricom, I had the right skill set and right capability, but not well honed. So when Ccom came calling, and I also got a better understanding of what they do from the interactions that we had with them, I was of course attracted. There was the other rider that it was a regional business, which means there was a bit of travel across the continent. So that helped motivate the switch as well. So again, making the switch into Ccom and then getting immersed in the world of data. And then at that point is also where I got a bit of a touch from the regulatory field. Remember, Ccom was a startup. And as a startup, you find that you are a self-contained team. What needs to get done you must all do. So
and you have to be hands-on.
100%. So as we moved across the markets, somebody had to engage with the various regulatory authorities in those countries. So regulations, law,
you could do it,
so do it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you went back to Safaricom. So now tell us why you went back.
Again, aspect of self-awareness. So Ccom by that time has grown from the small cabby startup that it was. When I joined the company in Nairobi office, not the larger regional office, Nairobi office, we were 13 staff, 8 workstations. So that tells you how small.
So you were sharing here.
Yes.
Which is much like us as a startup here.
Correct.
You know, we have an open door policy. We have we have no, separate offices. It's all open plan. Yeah.
Exactly.
I understand.
And watching the business grow country to country, and having the organization become ubiquitous to the mobile operators at that time in terms of connectivity to the world. Then now understanding that there's going to be a shift. Okay, and that shift is going to come across to the end user, and then the additional products that you layer upon that. And can I say serendipity? Safaricom was also on the tipping point of switching its strategy, to be able to now be more data driven and to layer solutions and services from that perspective. So we found a commonality.
Okay.
And I was able then to bring my experience to Safaricom at that time.
And so it's worked out well from this now position of head of legal and now moving into regulatory, because that's now what you're doing.
Correct.
What do you think the new challenges will be for you in this new role that you're taking up?
Okay. My new role is quite exciting. I'm enjoying what I'm doing so far. It's been 6 months in the job. I lead a diverse team. I have engineers, accountants, economists, lawyers, policy experts in my team. Yeah. All of whom know much more than I do. So
well, you can't know everything, Fred.
Exactly. Yeah. And that to me is the exciting part of it. You know, sitting with a colleague who's able to teach you something new. Because the joy of life is being able to learn and relearn. If you keep to one station in life, obviously you get flat. So, enjoying that interaction with my new colleagues is one aspect. The other aspect is that my new role is external facing.
Correct.
Which means I have to also relearn a whole new set of skills.
Which ones? You're very good at public speaking, Fred, so I'm not really sure.
No, engagements are very different.
Yeah.
When you're trying to lobby for a particular position, how do you position that?
Yeah.
Again, when you're engaging your customers, because this is a very engaging position as far as advancing our policy position with our customers as well is concerned. How you communicate, all that is very different. And then also learning how to look ahead. Because you have to be able now to look ahead and not just be reactionary. From a legal perspective, you are trained to be a gladiator. The issue comes,
you fight it,
deal with it, and move on. The regulatory space is different because it's a bit more ambidextrous. There are issues you'll have to deal with when they come, which means reaction, and you also have to plan ahead, which means be proactive. So that skill set is
excellent.
important.
So we're looking forward to see what is coming for us as customers and also from a policy perspective.
Yes.
Let's move on now to your day-to-day role and what that looks like for someone who's the head of legal and regulatory at Safaricom, because I'm sure everyone is interested to know. So tell us, what is your 9 to 5 like? Is it 9 to 5 or is it 5 to 9?
Okay, it's not 9 to 5. That is a fact. One, you have to remember that you're balancing different responsibilities, which means the workload is quite heavy. So for me, my day starts at 5.
5. So it is 5.
Yes, 5 in the morning.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So when I get up, pray, and then catch up with the emails that I may have come in through the night.
Yeah.
And then it helps me also plan for what is coming into the day. Then I get ready for work, drop the kids, because I ensure that I have that time with them.
So you always drop the kids?
Yes. I always drop the kids. And then head off to the office. I'm usually in the office by 7:30.
Wow.
Okay. Usually early, but by later 7:30. What do I do then? Have my breakfast. I have my breakfast in the office.
In the office.
As I read the newspapers. That's something else I learned in Kaplan Stratton. Always start your day by reading.
Do you do newspaper?
Yes, which I have never.
It's something I'm doing wrong. Okay.
Yeah. So I do that. I read all the newspapers, and then again the items that I identified earlier in my review session, then kick off my day in activating the same. Yeah. My day is full of meetings and planning sessions with the team and also other stakeholders. So that's what drives me onwards till the end of the day.
What time does the day end?
This year, again, I said my year of new things.
Yes.
I'm trying to live at a respectable hour in the office. I think I've always had the challenge of balancing my work life and my home life. So this year is definitely going to be a different a different outcome.
Yeah.
So that requires me. Remember, I talked about ambidextrity in terms of planning to be better, a better planner in terms of the activities I need to focus on for that day. And similarly, to be able to delegate and work well with my colleagues, so that then nothing gets falls off the cart.
Safaricom is such a big business with so many different business lines, M-Pesa, home fiber, the data itself. Yes. How do you balance all of those competing priorities in the regulatory space then?
Okay. All right. So first off, Safaricom is very mission driven. That mission is focused on our strategy. And our strategy then gets boiled down into our mission. Our current mission is to be a purpose-led technology company by 2025. We then break that down even further into yearly missions. Okay, so our current financial year, which ends in March, we have a mission that is seeing us focus on two things, where we are trying to grow new growth areas with the intention of delivering a superior customer experience. So what do those two focuses tell you? It means that every business line must be channeled towards delivering those. So it's not just a headline position. That gets broken down further into nitty-gritty segments for each and every person within Safaricom. So again, I talked about the issue of mission. So similar to the military,
you've given that military analogy before.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Correct. So where the military, when they go on whatever mission it is, everyone understands what they're supposed to do. So it's not only the officers who understand what the mission profile is. It is each and every individual who has been channeled on that task. So it's the same thing in Safaricom. Everyone will be able to tell you that if my role is to serve tea, why am I serving it? Okay, so I'm giving a bit of a generic view, but that gives you an indication of what fuels the business. So it's not that you come into work to do whatever you feel like
there's
doing.
A purpose.
There is a purpose.
You've talked when you said about the mission driven environment, but you also talked about an agile working environment.
Correct.
And how do they work together? Because if you're mission driven and you know where you're going, how can that work together with an agile working environment, which means that you're ready to change strategy at any time because you understand that there are different competing requirements all the time? How do you do that?
All right. So first off, I think Tyson is one who said that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. The same thing in business.
Yeah.
So you have your strategy, looks nice and well thought through. You have your mission, which gets broken down all the way to the individual pockets. But the environment in which you're operating doesn't stand still for you. It keeps evolving. So in our instance, we are saying we're looking to, in this particular mission, to deliver superior customer experience. I need to then understand what my customer wants in order then to deliver that superior experience. Customer needs are constantly evolving. And the agile mindset or agile way of doing things helps sharpen us to that reality, which means I am not the guy who will say that I am lifting this book from here to here because that's what mission says. But what if the customer doesn't want you to lift the book from there to there? Yeah. So you then be able to move across swiftly. Agile also does something else. It stops us from working in silos, such that me and my team won't say that our role is just regulatory, and we have our own plan as to what we want.
Yeah.
You'll find that, of course, in business, things are always, pollinating into each other. So I'll need the legal colleagues to come in. I'll need a techie to come in. So Agile allows us to work with our cross skills to deliver.
Yeah. Could you give us an example of how that mission-driven environment and the agile working environment has worked together in what are the results of that? Can you give us an example?
Okay. I think one example I can give that is quite pronounced is Ethiopia.
Okay.
When the business made a decision to advance into a new territory, that is something Safaricom had never done. We had gone into new product lines, but never to a new country, which in itself carries various risks. So how did that all boil down together? It required a whole team of different skill sets being brought together in terms of a working team, and then embarking on the mission of winning the bid, and then rolling out the network, and then helping the baby to now start crawling. So all that coming together has been beneficial to that end.
So in all of this that we're talking about, the working environment, I guess, how do you motivate your team members? What responsibility do you take for molding their careers? I know that mentorship is very important to you, and it is also to me. How do you make sure that you're instilling the same rigor, grit, determination, and ability to work in the people that you're working with in the team?
All right. So I think one is appreciating what leadership is. So leadership is not being a taskmaster to deliver an objective, but it's about ability to influence in order then to deliver that outcome. So I think like a force multiplier of sorts, where then you're able to help everyone come together, give their best to then deliver that outcome. So then it's incumbent upon you then as a leader to work not just across the entire team, but also on one basis. So that's where the passion that I have around mentorship comes in, and that's what I bring into my role with my team members. So for me, mentorship is also recognizing the journey I have been on, appreciating the things that I have gone through, appreciating the milestones I have overcome or gone through, to then use that experience to enable others. So I think we've all, as we've gone through life, we're like, oh, I'm lost, I don't know what needs to happen here. We've all gone through that. So appreciating that what you have gone through, another has done the same. So then putting yourself in their shoes and then helping them along in that journey. So mentorship is an always on, can I call it a skill, as you go through your leadership journey, because by helping your team members grow in their own individual capacities, you then deliver on the force multiplication that I spoke to. And the same, going back to what I mentioned about my parents and what they instilled in me, it also then extends to the community. So mentorship to me is not just ring-fenced in the office, but it goes beyond into what I do outside in the community. The young people that I work with in various forms, not just lawyers, but in various areas, to help them in their different stages of life.
That's very. I mean, that's amazing and commendable. I think we all have a responsibility to make sure that we're instilling something into the next generation. So let's talk about the business itself, and what you guys are looking forward to in the future. I mean, Safaricom already seemingly has a monopoly in the market. And I know it's a touchy subject for some people, because is there or is there not a monopoly? Isn't competition a good thing in telecoms?
Okay. I think maybe I'll start with the usual terms and conditions.
Which is the usual terms?
And not here on behalf of the business. So what is my personal view on the subject? And it's this: Safaricom is not a monopoly. Perhaps the sensitivity that many people have is a reflection of the fact that we touch lives in so many ways. From the time you wake up to the time you sleep, the likelihood is that you have interacted with one of our products and more than once. So when you have an organization that is so ubiquitous in your life, then a feeling that it is the only one in your universe perhaps starts to come into focus. But the fact is, Safaricom is not alone in this environment that we are in. We are one of 4 mobile network operators, all of who service the tens of millions of Kenyans who need telecommunication services across this country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the issue of competition is something that we welcome. And I think further proof of that is that if Safaricom was not driven to do better, then to be complacent. It would simply let things be because, as you're saying, it's a monopoly, and 2, it's not it's threatened by competition.
Yeah.
But that drive to keep pushing, to keep better, to keep engaging with the customers simply shows that we know there's a lot that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And that again is evidenced by the continuous investment. The telecom industry is a very capital intensive business. Mm-hmm. It requires constant and heavy investment. It also requires continuous innovation. Any player that does not trigger those 2 elements is not going to go very far. Yes.
Well, I can definitely say that from a customer service perspective, yes, I think Kenyans deserve good customer service, and Safaricom does deliver on that. Yeah. And I think that's been evidenced, even from a personal standpoint, yes, in the home fiber market, yes, which I think some people have been complaining about, yeah, other providers who, yes, seemingly have disappointed them. I think you must have seen a lot of volumes moving towards you. Yeah. What are the things are you looking forward to in 2023? Where are you going? Can you give us some hints as to what us as customers can expect?
Okay. So first off, thank you for the feedback around the customer care,
yeah,
the customer experience. I think it just touches on the mission that I spoke to you about, where we are focused in improving and delivering a superior customer experience.
Yeah.
So I think that is good feedback.
You can report that.
We are on mission, and we are seeing that customers, yeah, are benefiting from that. Mm-hmm. So where are we going and what are we seeing? I think where we have come from, and I think every conversation that touches on where we are going, I think in this current environment touches on 2 things. One, around COVID.
Okay.
And then the larger economic environment. We are saying that there are the various struggles that we went through as a country, and also as a global community, touching on the pandemic, touching on the larger economic slowdown, driven by various global things that may be happening.
Yeah, so Ukraine, Russia, etc.
Correct. Mm-hmm. But all those things, even as they cooked up, also delivered opportunity. Mm-hmm. And that opportunity you saw was in the form of the connectivity and the broadband that was delivered during the period of the pandemic.
Yeah, and also
yes,
making sure that we as Kenya can demonstrate our infrastructure is ready to deal with that kind of thing. Exactly. And I think we were very successful in that.
We were very successful in that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then what did that do? It also started elevating a new economy. Mm-hmm. And so much so that even in the new government administration, you've seen that digitization has been brought to the heart,
yeah,
in terms of service delivery and in terms of even expectations, in terms of how government is going to evolve itself in the back end. So what does this do for us? For us, it also brings in a glimmer of optimism. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Just a glimmer?
A glimmer.
Is a glimmer enough?
Glimmer is always where you start off.
Okay.
Because it's from that you open the curtains. Even when you open the curtain, it starts off with a glimmer, isn't it?
One thing we will not forget, Fred, is your analogies today. Good.
Correct. Yeah, because it's from that then you're able to build. So we are optimistic about the future. One, we have made the investment. I think I postured this earlier,
yeah,
when I said in our industry you do have to prepare, and we always prepare ahead of demand. So everything that we have prepared for is going to enable this country to be able then to fuel itself into greater success. So that is one element that I see for this nation, that the underlying infrastructure developments are going to help us be able to overcome the hardships that we are experiencing and that are going to come ahead of us. What else am I seeing? I've seen also the investment that even this country has done in education are going to come and pay off. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have prepared our country and our citizenry to be ready for this new world order. And I think that is very critical for us because the world continues to shrink in terms of the boundaries, etc. So the people that we have prepared will find opportunities, not just in companies within Kenya, helping us to be able to grow, but also beyond our borders. So those are some of the key elements that I see of opportunity for this country.
Is there any specific product that you want to tell us about, or you can't do that at the moment?
No, not at the moment. Safe to say that we are again prepared for what is coming ahead. We will continue to ensure that Kenyans are able to deliver their lifestyle, their businesses, and everything that they desire for their communities through our network.
And then, are you preparing for challenges? Can we talk about specific challenges that you may encounter or that you're preparing for?
All right. So the opportunities I gave also are counterbalanced by challenges, but that is a reality. Where there are challenges means even greater opportunity. So as we are growing, we also anticipate that there will be changes also from a regulatory perspective.
Yeah.
This is expected. It's not that there will be a singular focus on this particular industry, but simply because it is necessary.
Yeah.
Our industrial space is changing, and as a consequence, the regulators will respond to that change. So I anticipate that you'll see a lot of interaction, not just at the level of our core regulator, which is the Communications Authority, but across our other regulators, the Central Bank, even the Competition Authority.
Yeah.
That interaction is also driven by the fact that we now have more awareness in the consumer space. So it's not about kujishikilia when you have a poor service. People now are very vocal, and
then clearly
yes,
they make it known, which is
yes,
their right, to be
correct,
honest.
Which is very good, and that drives an improvement in service delivery. You spoke to the issue of competition. Competition is not the only thing that pushes us to be better. Our customers are pushing us, to give more because they do want more. So that is one challenge. I spoke about the issue of the development of our human resources.
Yeah.
That becomes another challenge because now there will be a competition, and we are not competing just within Kenya. We have people from organizations from beyond our borders who are also interested in our resource pool.
In your resource pool, correct. Yeah, correct.
So which means that also presents a challenge in itself in terms of retention, in terms of also keeping that engagement. Yes.
Are you concerned about over-reliance on digitization? I know everyone is talking about it, and it's a good thing, and obviously we need it. Yes. But can we balance Agile working with that digitization piece so that we're not just being mission-driven to digitize and over-rely on it?
Okay. Digitization is a reality of evolution. You spoke to me about how was practice back in my day, and I spoke to the issue of being very hands-on in terms of engagement. I also mentioned the issue of evolving now into a more digital way of engaging with our research, etc.
Correct.
So that is the reality that we are in today, where the IT infrastructure, where the connectivity that has been deployed is going to drive every aspect of our lives. So it's not an over-reliance, but the expectation that we need to prepare for what's coming. The same way when the car came about, there were people who were breeding even more horses.
That's very funny.
Yes. So it's in the same breath. So we need to prepare ourselves. Again, even with our children. And the same way I was shepherded into a certain industry, the question is for our kids, are we now going to give them a list with the same old professions, or is it also to be self-aware that the world is also evolving to then prepare for what is coming?
I really like that answer, Fred. You've also talked to us about how you would like to see M-Pesa as universally used as Visa card or MasterCard, or that symbol that you see everywhere when you're traveling abroad, if you're lucky enough to. How are you doing that? What is the game plan there?
Okay, so first, it is an intentional journey. Intentional in terms of what are we as Safaricom doing in terms of our platforms and other modules to ensure that M-Pesa becomes an integrated payment delivery solution.
Yeah.
That is on our part. Okay, and then also what are we doing to engage with government, even across borders, to facilitate that ambition.
Yeah.
So what are we doing for the two? So as far, let me start with the last one part. Around the cross-border activity, we formed a company called M-Pesa Africa, which is a joint venture between ourselves and Vodacom, with that vision in mind.
Yeah.
So the work of M-Pesa Africa will be one, to be a product warehouse that develops financial service related products, which then can be ubiquitously rolled out across our markets.
Yeah.
Again, still being responsive to the different needs of customers across the various countries. And then two, because now they have a more continental platform, be able to work with us and other of our family members across the continent,
Yeah.
to then start shaping the regulatory space to facilitate that ambition. So coming back again to the home front, again, it's about how we start fine-tuning our products from speed, pricing, to other needs. We're seeing now we are moving even to things like wealth management.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
If you go into the M-Pesa app, under the Grow tab, you'll see the various products that we have around that. So that again starts shaping M-Pesa beyond a simple payment tool to one that you can also use to grow
your wealth.
Your wealth.
Yeah.
The product we have several products there, all of them in partnership. So that also tells you that we have understood that our future is not just driven by our own innate capability. We have to partner with other players. So the products that you will see listed there are all driven out of
we should actually test. Let's bring a phone so we can check and see.
Bottom right.
Yes.
Is it Grow?
Grow. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I see it.
So under Grow, you can see we have Mali.
Yeah.
So and then we have M-Shwari and we have KCB.
I really like the fact that you also know exactly where to go in the phone, just like a customer service agent. So the mission is really is really being driven very well. Okay. So after all of this, we've talked about your career, we've talked about what you're doing, we've talked about your personal motivations. What is your life philosophy as you look in 2023 at what you want to do and where you've been?
Okay. Other than do new things.
Other than do new things,
What drives me in life is to always grow what is put in my hands.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm a firm believer that God puts various resources in your hands. It could be money, it could be people, it could be time. Time is a resource in itself. So whatever has been brought your way, you must help it grow.
I like that.
Yes.
I really like that. I think that's such a nice way of putting that there are special skills that you've been given. Use them wisely. Very well said, Fred. Okay, so let's do tips and tricks for young lawyers. We have the knowledge, or you have the knowledge. Okay.
I'm still youth. I'm not.
And you look it, by the way, Fred, so I'm not going to take that away from you. You said that you did odd jobs when you were at university. This is from what I could gather from the internet. What were these odd jobs?
No, everyone does one thing or another when they're in uni. So in my case, working in the registry, to the mail room.
Where?
I was in uni overseas.
Oh, overseas. Okay,
Yes. Okay. So I worked in the mail room, helping to staff envelopes in the various correspondence. So back then we had no email.
So you were the delivery, the postman.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not postman. Just making sure everything is ready.
To be delivered.
Yes,
okay.
to be delivered. So obviously the correspondence within also the university environment.
I see. Okay.
As well.
Okay.
So in that, I'm sure anyone who worked even in a law firm back in the day, remember, or even an office.
No, I used to do that. I used to do that. Yes, I was a receptionist, and I used to deliver the mail to each of the different people's outboxes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Then I also did the summer internships.
Yeah.
So working with the various firms just to get an understanding and view of what practice.
Was it as difficult to get as it is now?
No.
It was quite. It was available.
The fact is that you're not for the summer internships. You're not getting paid, so that makes it very easy to. Easy to get. And
so just on that, is it important to get work experience? What is your view on that? Does Safaricom take on interns? Okay. What is your view on getting some work experience before you start practice?
I think it's important to get work experience at any point in your life. Okay, and speaking as a parent, work experience exposure starts from when your kid has an understanding of what they need to do as a routine. That is work experience. Make your bed, take your plate to the kitchen, wash the car, and you keep progressing those tasks as they grow. Obviously, our employment legislation is prepared. Unfortunately, it does not permit the younger kids from getting certain minor jobs that they can.
Well, there are specific protections for that. Yeah.
Yes, correct. But allow them, expose them. If you're an entrepreneur, take them to your work space, because as the child starts understanding what is required and the rigor that is involved in you earning that daily bread, it starts shaping
their understanding.
Okay, but I think the way we have all been configured as Kenyans is that education is it, and then go get a job, but we have not prepared you for the career. Yeah. So these activities that you do will help shape even your understanding of what you want. So start the kids early. For those now who are already in university and you didn't do that, get involved.
You're late, basically.
No, it's never too late. Always find something that you can get involved in your community, whatever that activity is, whether it's paid or not. There's a lot that you learn from balancing different responsibilities, managing whatever resources you have. Again, time is a resource, money is a resource, working with other colleagues to deliver. All those are skill sets you're going to transfer into the workplace.
And you should learn them early because you need them as well. Okay, so work-life balance is always a question that we get asked, especially at interviews. A lot of people ask us, how do you manage work-life balance? My answer to that is that work and life must balance, and don't separate them, because if you do that, then you're always causing a chasm between what you want and your work. What is your philosophy on that?
Okay, I'm still in Gumbaro on that. So what am I learning? I'm learning that you must be intentional about it. So whatever commitments I make around creating that balance, I need to be intentional about it. And everybody takes the balance from a different perspective. So you need to review what that means from your own individual perspective. And then be intentional about it. There are various writers who speak on the issue. Some call it, make those your micro steps. Others call it atomic habits. Whatever you want to call it, just be intentional about the commitment that you have made. Work-life balance could even be using your phone less. When you get home. Again, if that's a commitment you've made, be intentional about it, and also be accountable. Have someone who then you can be accountable to around that commitment, and then progressively you'll find that you're making a win in whatever it is that you have decided.
Good answer. Any other tips for working well? How do you manage competing interests? What are the most difficult conversations, and how can you have them? Tell us some of your tips.
Okay, again, in life, always have that underlying aspect of be intentional. Okay, whatever it may be, and then also be empathetic. So if you're having a difficult conversation, be empathetic. All right, see the conversation in advance in your mind, and put yourself in that
the person's shoes,
and then script it out in your mind before you have that conversation. Because everybody has a backstory to whatever it is that has brought you to that difficult conversation. But then also be realistic, okay? Because there are also people who could be manipulative. Okay, so be wise. I think that is the key word. So that then, as you're balancing out the issues, you're able to arrive at the correct outcome.
Any other tips that you want to give us?
Other tips is, again, if you are employed, take it as your own business. Okay, so never consider yourself as an employee. All right, see yourself as a service provider. So that is how I see myself. I'm a service provider to Safaricom. So when I come into the office, I then need to have my A game on.
Yeah.
Because I am selling Fred Waithaka
services. Yeah.
So the same expectations I have of any vendor should be the same expectations I have of myself.
That's a good way of seeing it. So not just
Yes.
a cog in the wheel,
Correct.
but an independent wheel working towards one goal.
100%.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So now we move on to the quick fire round.
Yeah.
This is where I hope you've not looked at the questions.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick fire round
Yeah.
and then we'll finalize. Beach or city holiday?
Beach.
Favorite place to visit?
Nanyuki.
Apples or oranges?
Apples.
Flat or sparkling?
Flat, you mean still?
Still. Yeah, still. Yeah, still.
Yeah.
Quick. Still. Okay, fine. You get one song to listen to for the rest of your life. What is it?
Dream for you, casting crowns.
Okay. Pizza topping of choice?
Anything with meat.
Favorite drink?
Tea.
It's Valentine's month. Do you believe in Valentine's? Are you a romantic?
Every day is Valentine's.
Oh, excellent. Excellent answer. Thank you so much, Fred. You've been such an amazing guest.
Yeah.
Thank you for making the time. We really appreciate it. And I think this has been very informative for everyone who's either in the regulatory space, legal, in-house legal, and anyone who wants to know how to progress their career to the levels that you have. Excellent guest. Thank you so much, Fred.
Thank you, Njeri, and thank you for having me. I've had fun.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you next month.
Thank you. Bye.